Yes, team. Hope everyone is well and having a lovely, lovely weekend. First and foremost, apologies for the lateness of this training. When I first actually wrote the script and everything for it, I wrote it and I was like, "That's just fucking boring." Okay, there's a different way that I can make this way more interesting for you guys. Okay, and I was trial and error with different things of how to make it look a bit better, of how I can do this in terms of actually screen record and then do the presentation at the same time. And I finally found something called Loom, which I'm going to be using more often, just because it's a bit more interesting. Also, team, in a bit of a non-relation to this training, okay, something we've had today, this kombucha, okay, orange squeeze is absolutely incredible. For the terms of having a healthy microbiome, things like kombucha are really good. Okay, but let's get into today's training, team. It's all about flow state for improved output. The term flow state is probably new to some, but everyone has definitely experienced some sort of flow state. So let's get into it. Being in the flow state is also known as being in the zone. This is where a person is performing some sort of activity which they can be fully immersed in, on the feeling of feeling completely energized and full involvement and the enjoyment of the process of activity. So you can probably tell you've probably been in this situation or done something that has literally gone so quickly for you. That's because you've been fully involved and fully present in what you're doing. Okay. You know, when you do something and you go, fucking hell, like, where's that time gone? And that's being in the zone. And we'll get into this a bit later. But a really good example that I like to use is, for example, when I ran my ultra marathon was 125 kilometers. It took me 21 hours to run it over 2 days. The first day was 75 kilometers and it took me 12 hours. I started at 7 a.m. and I finished at 7 p.m. It went so quickly. It went so quickly. My partner Molly was like, oh, bloody hell, like it's been a long day. I'm like, it's literally gone like that. Okay, because I was fully immersed in what I was doing. I completely simplified. There was no external distractions, no internal distractions. I was just fully focused on what I had to do. And we'll get into this a bit later, but that's kind of the idea of what being in the zone look. But in terms of, or if you have like a hobby that you do, or something they really look forward to, or even just, you know, we go out with a friend and you just talk absolute crap, and before you know it, it's like, bloody hell, where's this 2 hours gone? You know, because you're fully immersed, you're fully present in that moment. Okay. However, however, okay, the ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare with being with being in the world that we live in at the moment. Okay, with also it being so valuable as well. Um, the reason being is that because things like marketing is everywhere at the moment. All terms marketing is to catch your eye, okay? And our brain has been programmed to this as well, okay? And this is why we're constantly looking for dopamine hits, constantly picking up your phone, okay? Constantly getting bombarded with the ads. It's a constant flurry of just things that you don't need to fill your mind with, okay? And with, in order for like work capacity, and increasing work state in terms of your jobs as well, it's hard. It is hard to be in the state of flow. Okay, but in terms of what are the actual benefits of being in the flow state, let me name you a couple. Okay, number one is heavy concentration. Being able to focus on being able to focus on the work without getting distracted leads to a high output of quality and quantity of work. Okay, you know, guys, better than ever. If, let's say, if you sit down at your desk or you do a workout and you're not really concentrated, you'll just go through the motions, and that'll just be it. Okay, you're not going to, excuse me, you're not going to get the output of what you want in terms of the return of investment. Okay, if you want to hit your KPIs at work, if you want to hit your PBs at the gym, you can't just go through and just go with the flow. Okay, and expect to do well in life in general as well. So it's important to have that heavy concentration. But in terms of myself, I get distracted so easily, so easily. I'm like, what's that? What's that? Oh, it's a fly, you know? So when I'm in a work block, okay, my desk has to be tidy, it has to be neat. Okay, I struggle to work remotely because people are walking around. I bought these earphones because they're noise cancelling, so I don't hear anything. Okay, and we'll go into a bit later about noise cancelling earphones and type of frequency to listen to. But That's why heavy concentration is so important, because I'll start missing things out. Okay, and to reach that state of flow, I need to be completely in the zone, and that in terms of me being in that heavy concentration. Number two is having a sense of clarity. This is a massive, massive one. Okay, whilst being in the state of flow, your mind and body doesn't even have to communicate. You just get shit done without even having to think about it. Okay, and that's super important one. When your mind and body just work in unison, and you don't have to be like, "Fucking hell, this is a chore. Let me write things out." Or if you keep constantly getting like spelling mistakes wrong or this or that, having that sense of clarity is super important. Sometimes I'll sit and I think about trainings, I think about content that's going to be really beneficial for you guys, and nothing will come up. My mind will just be completely blank, and I'll be like, like clogs are ticking in my head, and just nothing's coming. But whereas other times I have more sense of clarity, okay, and it's just like bam, 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 like ideas are just rolling through my head. I'm going, yes, it's going to be absolutely brilliant, okay. So, and I can really tell a massive difference within myself when I struggle to have that sense of clarity. When I have struggle to have that sense of, if I'm feeling too overwhelmed with different situations, I can't think straight, which then forward is going to lead me into not getting the best kind of mindset around having to go about things. Okay, and hopefully, guys, you experience as well, unless it's just me. Okay, number three is decreased barriers. Okay, these daily life stresses that you find, these self doubts, anxiety, all take a back seat when you achieve that flow state, which then in turn has a more positive experience and being more intrinsically more motivated. Okay, there's no superficial driver that causes this, just a complete pleasure that comes with being fully present within that moment and doing something that you're passionate about. Okay, and that's super important. Okay, doing something that you are passionate about. For example, I relate this back to the ultra marathon. I lost two toenails. Okay, I had potential stress fracture. All that, I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, and I'm not saying it to be like to say bravado or whatever. It's just generally, I was fully immersed in what I needed to get done to do it, and that was that. You know, and in the case of when you're feeling good, when you have that sense of clarity, when the heavy concentration, you don't have time for just bullshit. It's just like, I don't need that in my life right now. I'm concentrated on what I'm doing. Once you have that kind of process, it's really good to be able to just be in a better mindset as well, and not letting these external factors get in the way. And being in a much better mindset going into things, you get a much better output. I hope that makes sense, team. Okay, but ideally, what is really holding you back from achieving this? I keep moving myself around because this is all new to me, team. This is take one. Okay, so I'm just getting used to it as well as you are. But in terms of what's holding you back, number one, you need to eliminate all external distractions. Put your phone away, notifications off, email notifications off, computer tabs cleared, workspace neat. Okay, anything that you can control, that's around you. Okay, just do as much as you can to make things have a better peace of mind. Okay, I have no notifications on my phone, none. Okay, because I'm gonna have that constant monkey mind. If I get a message, boom, what's this? Oh, boom, what's this? Boom, what's okay? Like, I'm not gonna be able to fully concentrate and be fully present at what I'm doing, because there's constant distractions just taking me away from what I should be focusing on. Okay, in terms of questions that you need to ask yourself is, how can you declutter your workspace? How can you declutter your space in general? Even at the gym, if I have a jumper, I'm making sure that that jumper is folded up neatly. I'm making sure that my AirPods, my phone, my water, they're all lined up neatly as well. Okay, that gives me a little bit of peace of mind. You know, how can you take away other distractions like noise? How can you take away other distractions like other people instead? That's a super important. If you've got a really annoying coworker and they're just constantly blabbing on with you, how can you just kindly tell them to shut up? I'm concentrating. How can you just make your just get rid of these external distractions that you don't need? And you all know what external distractions, and sometimes people are they're too lenient with these distractions, and they just go, oh, okay, whatever. Hold yourself accountable, create these barriers, because it's going to really help you in the long run. Number two is to eliminate all internal distractions. Okay, and what I mean by this is how present are you being with the workload or the kind of work block that you are in. Okay, how present are you in that moment? Okay, if you're feeling ample amount of stress or anxiety, this is going to hold you back. Okay, and I'm not saying that you're going to go through life and just being absolutely a-okay and just never feel these types of emotions, because that's not true. Okay, but understand we need to get to the biting point, the trigger point of why you actually feel like this in the first place. There's no magic pill or something that I can say that's just going to let it fly away. Okay, it comes down to that internal work that you need to do. Different things I recommend: that daily meditation, okay, journaling. These things are really, really important. They don't take up too much of your time either. Super easy and super simple to get along with. Okay, and to be honest, I'll hold my hands up. I'm not been the best at journaling at the moment, and I definitely noticed a difference from it. And it's something that I'm going to need to get back into. Just to have that, not so much because I'm feeling extremely stressed, but just have a bit more sense of clarity. I find when I journal, I have so much mental clarity. It's I miss it. Okay, and I need to get back into that. And if you are feeling these feelings of stress, anxiety, etc., try these things out. And if you feel like your mind is all over the place before you get into a workload, I'm really sorry if you can hear that bird. Like it being in Australia at the moment, it's like Jurassic Park. Like some of the noises that come out of this place, I'm like, well, what the fuck is that? But yeah, detour, back to it. If you're feeling like your mind's all over the place before you get into a work block or before you go into your workout, what can you do to get yourself in the zone? Okay, is there a type of song that goes boom? Okay, listen to this, close my eyes, get in the zone, right? Let's go. I'm focused. Okay, could it be a 5 to 10 minute meditation where you just do it seated at your desk? Okay, if you are looking to do that, then there's an app called Insight Timer where you can listen to free meditations there. Okay, so to make sure you can do that as well. Number three is understand what your biological peak time is. And this is something that I've not really spoken about before, which is something that is really recommended. Okay, for example, are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Are you more focused in the afternoon? For example, Jeff Bezos schedules all his important meetings before 10 a.m. If there's any important meetings that need to come after that, he goes, nope, okay, we'll do it for the day after. He is so strict on this with his barriers with this. Okay, so find a time of the day what works best for you and then schedule your most important tasks around this. Okay, I'm a big believer. I'll do the hardest shit first in the morning, because then for the rest of the day it's just like, oh, plain sailing, easy peasy, no dramas. Okay, however, you need to find a system that works best for you, and that is totally dependent. And I can't tell you what's best for you. You need to learn and understand what works best for you. But generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, getting your workout done first thing in the morning, okay, if you can do it, is so much better for you. Okay, for multiple different reasons. Of one, if you get your workout done first in the morning, it's done. Okay, there's no distractions that can hold you back for the rest of the day. If you do your workout, and that's the hardest thing to do rest of the day, things like your workload in the day is not going to be that hard. Okay, compared to your workout, if you put 110% efforts into it. Okay, like I said, it's something that you need to figure out what's best for you. Number four is listen to the right frequency of music. This is something that I absolutely love and I really think is important. Okay, so repetitive types of techno, classical music, house trance allows you to reach this state of flow much quicker. Okay, I have put a link in the caption area of the example music I would listen to when I'm in a work block. Okay, and I listen to something called lo-fi, Lo-fi. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all the likes of that. Okay, so yeah, have a look at that. It's just really, really good. Okay, and it allows me just to concentrate and yeah, get in that zone much quicker. And I always do this before I go to the workouts as well. Like I said, if I feel like I have like monkey mind, it's going everywhere, I put on a song that's going to really help me get into that zone. Number five is work on specific tasks. Okay, don't do lots of different things at different timings. Okay, because it's not going to help you at all. Sorry about that, Tim. I just had to pause it. There was a knock on the door. Okay, going on to number five is work on specific tasks. Okay, when you set aside 90 minutes to complete work, but then you're trying to juggle three things at the same time. It's not going to allow you to be fully present and fully involved in exactly what you're doing, because you're constantly going to be jumping from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. Okay, and you're not going to get that. So number 5 is work on specific tasks. Okay, and this is something that I'm not really the best at, because I have that monkey mind where I'm constantly working from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another. You know, I struggle to be able to focus on one thing. Okay, however, it's something that I need to start doing, and something that is worth highlighting in terms of what's holding you back. Okay, for example, when you set aside 90 minutes to complete a task, and you've got 3 things to do at once, you know, you're not going to be fully involved, fully present. You're not going to give the highest amount of output and input in that workload that you have to do. Okay, and there's so many different research about work blocks, but again, I think the main things is you need to plan your time, and then work backwards from there. But make sure you schedule in specific timings for tasks, but also create your own pressure by doing things as well. You know, let's say you have a hour workout, but you know it takes you about an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. You know, you, generally speaking, all you guys workouts should take you no longer than an hour, max 10 minutes. You know, so, and if it's taking you longer than that, you know that you're doing something wrong. Or for example, if you've got like a set aside, you've got to do loads of emails, you know, it's taking you longer than you should. Then create your own pressure. But right, okay, 90 minutes time, I need to finish this amount of number, okay, and get that done. And like we all know, let's say if you have a task to be handed in, let's say in 3 months' time, you know that you're only going to pretty much start it in a 2.5 months' time, to give you like 2 weeks left to do it. You know, and that's kind of the understanding process of just create your own pressure, plan and schedule your times of different work tasks that you need to be doing. Okay. Number 6 is to stay hydrated. Okay, this is a really underrated one. Our brain is massively overlooked when we want to achieve peak performance, whereas the brain consists of 75% water. Okay, believe it or not. Some people more so, some people less so. Okay, but being fully hydrated will allow the energy production to be functioning properly. Okay, as you can imagine, even in being 1% dehydrated is not doesn't have an effect on your mental performance, but your physical performance as well. Okay, so it's a double whammy with this one. Okay, I've recently introduced electrolyte profile tabs to my morning, afternoon routines, or even to my workouts as well. Okay, even though I found myself being hydrated with just water, I didn't really find it was enough. So if you really want to optimize yourself, okay, I've even found consuming my electrolytes first thing in the morning gives me that kind of boost of what caffeine would do. Okay, I'm not sure if it's kind of some sort of kind of placebo effect that's been happening, but if I do have that electrolyte first in the morning, I feel like it just completely wakes me up. Okay, I hope everyone that makes sense. If anyone else has any ideas of what's holding them back to reaching that flow state, I'd be very keen to hear it. Okay, so if you do have anything, then let me know. Okay, just before we get into any questions that you want to ask me, team, on a side note, okay, which is quite relatable, I've recently read a book called 4,000 Weeks. Okay, I know a couple of you guys within the community have read this as well. Okay, but this is my kind of twist in it. And the book is the whole kind of notion of the book is we as humans are so worried about finding the best time, the best thing to be productive and utilize our time more. Okay, but what is the point of being more productive and prioritize the time more? But when we're just cramming more work in, okay. If this is needed in terms of to be more proactive, productive, to fit more work in, then fine, okay. But generally speaking, for most of us, we want to be more proactive to free up more free time. And there was I'm not sure exactly what it was, but there was a book. I'm not sure when it was kind of made, but it's about housewives when they first introduced things like washing machines and dishwashers and everything like that. And it was all about about creating more free time for the working mum at home. Okay. However, they found themselves, even though they had these two things, they were still as busy. And that is the reason, because even though they had more time, they would just fill it with more things to do. Okay, which is not the case that you want to get to. Okay, the book stated about how we want to create more time to full space with even doing even more things. Okay, and one thing I want to get through to this is white space. Okay, which is something that's come pretty new to me, and which I feel like it's completely underrated. Okay, and what white space is is you need to dedicate time to take a mental pause from work and other commitments to let the mind unravel in terms of in terms of what kind of what you want to do. Okay, it's this kind of decompressing from the workload. Okay, and this is something that's really come into my learning over the recent is kind of this white space from being connected to some incredible entrepreneurs. Okay, these are the types of things that they're introducing, and if you think about it, it's like your diet. Okay, if you go or your health and fitness, if you're just going to go 100 miles per hour, likely you're going to have a big old crash. Okay, but if you're having stops and breaks and rest in between, you know, you're going to go a lot further with this. And this is what kind of this whole white space is all about too. Okay, but that concludes today's training team. If anyone has any questions on flow state for improved output or any inputs they want to include with this as well, okay, I'd be more than happy to hear. Like I said, any questions, let me know. Hope you have a lovely weekend and let's smash our next week.